I've made this community, which is completely free. Yes, guys, free. That means it doesn't cost a dime. All you need to do is sign up today and simply follow the roadmap that I give you in the Start Here course. And I can give you that jump start into becoming the best portrait photographer you can be. So guys, what are you waiting for? It is completely free to start becoming the professional portrait photographer you want to be. So sign up today and I'll see you inside.
Hello everyone, my name is Joe. Welcome to Genius Joe. Today guys, we'll be discussing something that you may not be thinking about right now that is preventing you from making progress as a portrait/fashion photographer, and you should do this before you decide to upgrade your gear. I'll tell you what it is later. You may be stuck in a plateau right now with your photography. You want to elevate your work to the next level, but you don't know how to. You don't know what that secret way is to start actually making better work and it's taking it to the next level. So guys, I'm gonna give you a hint. No, it's not your gear. It's not your gear. It's probably not even your lighting, and it's probably not even the models that you're using either. It's actually because you don't consider every factor in your photo beyond your technical side. And what do I mean by this? Well, I'm talking about stuff like you need to start focusing on your styling, your makeup, your location, your poses, etc. Really emphasize something like that, because right now, guys, you're too fixated on the technical side of your work. So you're too fixated on your lighting, what softboxes do I have, what lenses do I have, what focal length should I use. Guys, obviously those things are important. Those things are extremely important, but before we decide to upgrade that or buy more stuff and stuff like that, right, we need to start thinking about how we can adjust these things to elevate our portraits and to tell a story in our work. And your gear is most likely not the reason why your work isn't getting better. So before you decide to buy more gear, like I just said, right, let's start by thinking about how we can create amazing photos with the gear we currently have. Like, that was an issue of mine when I first started out, right? Like, I thought I needed the best gear, I needed the best lighting equipment, my softbox isn't big enough or something like that, when sometimes you just have to take a step back and look at what is in front of you, the model. Look at the model and also think about the story that you want to tell in your photos. Like, I'm gonna give you an example, right? Like, when you think of the best like fashion or portrait photographers out there, especially the ones before digital, like pre-digital era, they didn't need the best of the best gear to take amazing portraits, right? They look at examples here, right? You've got Don McCullum here, right? He's a war photographer. He probably just had a 35mm camera and it's like a lens and that's it. No lighting or anything like that. And he took an amazing photo here of a soldier. He's in shell shock. He's like, what the fuck's going on, right? You know what I mean? It's all these different portraits here. You got Yusuf Karsh, right? I mean, he's a bit different because he uses a lot of lights and stuff like that, right? But even him, it's like his setups weren't actually super complicated. They weren't like super expensive lights or anything like that, right? All they needed was a story to tell to create amazing photos. So yeah, all they needed was a story, and that's what you need too. You need to tell a story. So how to tell a story? You want to adjust these external factors like I just talked about, like your styling, your makeup, your location, your poses, and all that type of stuff, right? And adjust them accordingly to the story that you want to tell in that specific photo shoot. And you might be asking yourself, why should I focus on styling? Or why should I focus on any of these external factors apart from my gear? Well, for example, if the styling in your shoots are unique and they stand out, your photos will also look unique and stand out. Like, I've learned that to be a great fashion or portrait photographer, we need to think about everything that can be seen that can affect the photo. Like, we need to consider how the messaging will change depending on what the model's wearing, how they pose, how where they are, for example, or how you compose the image, the lighting, all that type of stuff. So once we know what story to tell in our photos, we can discover and express our style much easier in our portrait work, which will obviously make us stand out to other photographers out there, and in turn land us more clients. Because that's the whole point, guys. We want to land as many clients as possible, or land the most high quality clients, and this is the way to do it. If you want to land more clients who give you full creative control on your shoots, you want to create experimental and stylized work, guys. Like, you can't expect to land these clients who are going to give you all creative control, full creative control, if your portfolio is just a bunch of bland portraits. But if your portfolio expresses a very specific and distinctive style, they're hiring you because they want that. So they're going to give you full creative control, if that makes sense. Because that's the goal at the end of the day. We want to land clients that are actually giving us full creative control and make work that we're actually proud of and we're creatively fulfilled from. Not these boring portraits that we don't really like doing, we just do it for money, you know what I mean? And what better way to create distinctive work but to actually think about these external factors and adjust them accordingly to the themes of your photo shoots. Having a solidified concept with a story behind it and all that type of stuff is what is going to create depth in our photos, which will in turn make it look more professional. It make it look more higher budget, it make it look more intentional, it just make it look more high quality compared to other photographers on our level, which is in turn very difficult to replicate. So that's the whole point. We want to create work that is difficult to replicate and only we can create it, because then we don't have to be competitive with these prices or anything like that when we charge people. And also, we want people to look at our photos and think, yeah, like Joe took that photo, or like John took that photo, for example. There's no way anyone's took that photo but yourself. And there's like a style behind it that no one else can replicate. I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on what you need to do right now to create distinctive and in-depth work, right? So first, find your story. So find that theme. By the way, when I say story, it doesn't have to be literally a story. It could literally be a theme. It could be a narrative. It could be a culture. It could be a personality. It could be an emotion, something like that that you could feel like you could put in your photograph. And that's like the main theme of the shoot, right? And then, like I said, adjust all these external factors, or really just everything in your photo accordingly to that story. So let's think of the styling. Like, what type of styling could the model have to fit that theme I'm going for? Or what type of location would fit that theme? Or let's think lighting. What type of lighting will fit that theme? The poses, the makeup, all that type of stuff. And then you've got yourself a little photo shoot, guys. That's how you do it. It's really that simple. I want to give you like a big tip that you really need to implement here. Always consider your personal style of work when thinking of a concept for a shoot, because that's the one issue that I made in those early stages when I was trying to think of like all these photo shoot concepts. I'm like, okay, got all these concepts in my mind, I want to create them all. They were all cool concepts, but the issue was they were all just random. And there was no correlation, you know what I mean? There was like one this theme here, one this really dark theme, this one's really light-hearted theme and stuff like that. It's like, it's very different, and it made my portfolio kind of look like a mess. It's just all these types of different styles of photography, different lighting, completely different color palette, completely different like theme. Everything was completely different, and there was no correlation, there was no consistency there with it, right? So one thing I would definitely say, we need to find our style and have some sort of consistency in our portfolio. Not as in like making all our photos look the same. Of course, we need to have like all our photo shoots need to look kind of different, but for the most part, we need to have them be similar in some sort of way where it looks like, oh yeah, that person took that photo, that person took the photos, but it's still different, you know what I mean? So if you didn't know already, I interviewed this big fashion photographer, Olivia Bossert. She's worked for like Vogue, Elle, all that type of stuff, right? Crazy, right? And I asked her this question in the interview: how would you maintain your style in each photo shoot without it feeling repetitive? So without it feeling like every single photo shoot looks exactly the same. So she said, your work is kind of blocked into 3 little sections here, like a triangle. So my drawing is kind of shit. So yeah. So first is like your theme. You've got your lighting, and then you've got your color palette. So your style kind of consists of these 3 things that you kind of keep very similar, right? So if you want to switch it up on each photo shoot you do, you only change one of these and you keep the other 2 the same. So let's say for one photo shoot, you want to switch up the lighting you usually do. So you usually do quite high key, quite commercial type of lighting. And maybe for another photo shoot, you want to do very moody, very like high contrast lighting. And then maybe you switch your lighting up, but then you keep the color palette and the theme that you usually do the same. Or let's say you want to change up the theme, so that means you want to keep the color palette and the lighting the same. So basically, keep changing one of these and then keeping 2 of them the same will actually help you maintain your style and make your portfolio much more consistent, because obviously you don't want to keep switching up too much, but you also want to maintain a certain style. So yeah, to recap, your style kind of consists of these 3 things: your theme, your color, and your lighting. And you want to switch one of them up. You switch one of them up and then keep the other 2 the same. So that's how you keep a consistent style without it being repetitive. But in those early stages, guys, there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's nothing wrong with experimenting with all sorts of different like lighting and styles on like themes and emotions and that type of stuff, right? Because we're trying to find out. If you haven't found your style yet, obviously the only way to find your style is by experimenting and stuff like that, right? But once we've gone past that stage and we kind of know what we like, we need to make sure all of our photo shoots are extremely intentional and planned out, because that is what's going to help us create meaningful and professional looking work, and that's what's going to land us more clients, because we don't want to be creating these little photographs that we take pictures of our friends on the weekend or something like that. It's very like off the whim type of shoots, right? But it's not really planned out. It's want to rock up to set, take a couple of photos. Like, no, we need to make sure all of our photo shoots have a specific plan in mind. Again, going back to this, making sure it has a story, adjusting the external factors, and then yeah, you got yourself a photo shoot. Okay guys, I'm gonna give you like an example of how I would approach this, basically, of the step-by-step guide that I gave you. So first thing, I think of a theme. So PTSD, let's say I want to explore PTSD. So let's first think about the lighting. Let's think about, okay, I want for lighting, if you think of the theme PTSD, I'm thinking like high contrast lighting, moody lighting, maybe a lot of shadow, harsh highlights, makes it really like striking, something really like, it's really like shouting at you type of lighting. Is very kind of scary, right? And then maybe obviously then I'd probably want to shoot in a studio in terms of the location, because I can get full control over the lighting, I can really manipulate it, what type of look I want. Then maybe, because PTSD, I maybe want, like, in terms of styling and costume design, I'm like, let's go for like World War II soldiers, let's go for like props, like guns and that type of stuff, right? Maybe have some wounds on their faces for like special effects makeup, like stuff like that. And then let's go poses. Let's, in terms of poses, let's do like something more reserved, something more defensive, as if like the cameraman is like their enemy in a way. Maybe they're pointing the gun at him or something like that, or they're looking at him like, what the fuck are you, what you're doing, right? I mean, something like that. Now look at that, all these little things, and I've got myself a little photo shoot here. I can make a photo shoot out of this. And guess what, if you didn't know already, I actually did this sort of photo shoot. I actually did this photo shoot with the theme of PTSD in mind. As you can see, lighting's very high contrast. It's in a studio, got the guns. They look very like, oh, what you're looking at, like very defensive kind of poses. You know what I mean? Like, it all fit the theme here. I've just, from that theme of PTSD, I've gotten a whole photo shoot from this. But you can see how all the factors were carefully considered and were intentional. They were planned out and being like, okay, I want these type of poses, I want this type of lighting, I want this type of outfits and makeup. And because of that, the photos look super professional and they look really like high budget and high production. And guess what, guys? Do you know how much this shoot cost me? £0, zero. So completely free. This was a completely free photo shoot. I didn't spend any money on it. I didn't have this massive, huge team for it. There's about 5, 6. I think there's about like six, 7 of us. So I guess it's a kind of big team, but it wasn't anyone crazy like that. Most of them were just assistants or just sitting there, just want to watch, basically. You know what I mean? It was just like a fun vibe. And obviously, the costume designer who obviously sourced the outfits, they already had outfits. They already had these outfits available. So obviously, they didn't have to buy outfits just for this photo shoot. Obviously, you probably don't know someone who owns this type of stuff, right? Probably not. Maybe you do, but for the most part, you probably don't. You know what I mean? I also knew a makeup artist that did special effects makeup. I reached out to her. I was like, "Oh, do you want to do this photo shoot? I want this type of makeup. It'd be really cool. Let me collaborate on that." Really fun. And again, guys, like you can see as an example. That's why I should have showed an example, because it shows that if you do actually approach your photos in this way, look at how good these photos can turn out. Look how good your photos can turn out if you just decide to go, I want to think of some really cool shit and do it. And this could obviously be on a smaller scale, guys. Like, you don't have to go, oh, I don't have access to a World War II outfit, so I can't do this. Like, think of a smaller scale. Think on a scale of, like, think about the gear that you already have already, or the budget that you already have already, and think about what you can do with that. Work with your limitations. You can do this on a much more, you could do something like this on a much more modern, contemporary, and smaller scale. So let's say, okay, for example, right, let's say you want to explore the theme of, or the story or motion of male loneliness. So if it's male loneliness, let's go for, maybe they're wearing a suit, maybe they're concealing their face or something with a black mask to hide their identity or something like that, right? Maybe they're in a dark studio in a black background, they're kind of in a void, they're alone, it shows isolation. Maybe they're in public instead, and they're like in between a crowd, and the crowd is on slow shutter speed or something like that, they're blurry, and then he's sharp or something like that, like something like that, right? Like, you notice how this literally came from that theme of like male loneliness out off the top of my head, and I could just think of like a photo shoot concept from that. You know what I mean? So another example would be, let's say I'm discussing, let's say I want to like explore a lone wolf type, someone who's quite lone wolf, who's quite like, solo in their life right now. Maybe I want to shoot them in the woods. Maybe they're exploring, they're finding themselves. Something like that. Maybe they're wearing a tank top or something like that. Maybe they're climbing trees or something like that, right? Like, it shows that if you can literally just think of like a theme that you want to do, and you think, oh shit, like I can actually make a whole photo shoot out of this. And because you start thinking about the styling, you start thinking about the makeup or the location, the poses, the lighting, and you actually get motivated a bit. And you're like, oh, actually, I'm going to be excited. I want to make this now. I want to make this photo shoot now. So you do it. And it's just a great way to think of a really cool photo shoot concept. But as long as you follow the rules that I told you in this video, the step-by-step guide, think of the story, think of the external factors, all that type of stuff, right? You're going to create some really good pieces of work. If you think of think of everything in the photograph, if you're not just thinking about your lighting and stuff like that, but you're starting to think about your styling, you're starting to think about your poses, you're starting to think about the makeup. When you start thinking about that stuff, your photos are going to look so much better, because that's how professionals work in their industry. They put heavy emphasis on the styling, heavy emphasis on the makeup, on the location, on all that type of stuff. So if you start doing that, even if it's on a budget, you're going to start by creating work that clients want to see, and they're going to be like, yo, I want to hire you for that, because you clearly know what you're doing, and yeah, you just create amazing work. So yeah. So guys, before you decide to upgrade your gear, think about how you can improve your photos in other ways. Think about this little tree here, think about the theme, then talk about the lighting, think about then the poses, the outfits, think about stuff beyond your gear, because sometimes, guys, it probably isn't the gear. That isn't probably the reason why you're not creating the best photos possible. It's probably because you're not considering the external factors in your photographs. So guys, your action step by the end of this video, create a photo shoot concept. Go back to that step-by-step guide. Think about the story that you want to tell in your photos, the theme or whatever, right? And then adjust these external factors, adjust the certain factors like the lighting, the styling, the makeup, all that type of stuff, right? And then adjust them accordingly to said story that you want to tell. And you've got yourself a really cool photo shoot. And guys, this is exactly what I teach in my programs. If you want to learn how to prepare for your photo shoots extensively, how to really create the best photos possible and have a team behind that photo shoot, join the free community Photo Genius Academy. That is going to help you learn how to actually prepare for your photo shoots like a professional, tell you exactly what you need to do to make the best photos possible. It'll also tell you how you can source models for completely free, tell you my personal methods that I like to use to find models to shoot with to this day. So definitely check this out, guys. And it'll tell you how to build your portfolio from the ground up as well. You don't have to be a beginner to join this, by the way. Don't think you have to be a beginner to join this. I've got someone in there who has 5 years of experience and never actually started to actually implement the information and the knowledge that I gave them in this course in the free community. And now they're creating much better work, and they're gaining a new level of confidence as a portrait photographer. So it doesn't matter how much experience you have, join this community because it's completely free. So what are you waiting for? It's top link in the description below. You can check it out. And guys, once you want more personal training about your portrait photography, you want me to join you on your journey as a portrait photographer, join the paid community, Photo Genius University. That's going to give you access to the even more courses, I basically give you all my knowledge on what I know about this industry, how to price, how to prepare for your photo shoots, how to build your portfolio, how I keep going, how I keep making progress as a portrait photographer, tell you all the insights that is in this paid community right here. And yeah, personal training too. But yeah, guys, that's it for the video. That's also the link in the description below, by the way. Guys, that is it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys found this useful. Like, subscribe, comment, click on any of these videos here to learn more about portrait photography. And I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.